So here we're up to towards the end of Eis Gimel. The Rebbe wrote down the posik Yeducha Hashem Kol Maasecha V'Chasidecha Yivarchucha. That means first the posik says Yeducha Hashem. Everybody, all Maasecha will thank and praise you, Hashem. And then on that same level of Yeducha Hashem, Chasidecha Yivarchucha, they will bring it down. That means the level of Chasidecha Yivarchucha, they're mamshich to Malchus, as he explained, from the level which is only Yeducha. So the Rebbe went through to explain in the beginning of this ois the difference between bracha and tefillah. Bracha and tefillah. That tefillah, each one has an advantage. Tefillah is milmata l'mayla. We're begging Hashem. And we're begging Hashem from below to above, which means the person is below and he's asking Hashem to give him. But you're asking Hashem, you're not sure that you're going to get it. A bracha means that this thing that you're being blessed with is already above. The person is on a high level, has the ability to give brachas, like Avram, the Rebbe doesn't bring down here, but a tzaddik has the ability to give brachas because the tzaddik's position, where the tzaddik finds himself, is in a higher place than where the bracha comes from, so he can instruct the bracha to come down. He can push the bracha down, unlike tefillah, which can only pray and ask Hashem to give you. But on the other hand, the advantage of tefillah, that tefillah can change things around. Bracha only gives you what's already there. Tefillah taps in, so you make a yehiratzon, you make a ratzon chodesh, so that if, God forbid, somebody is sick, so that was the divine decree that he should be sick. You have the ability through prayer to change and reach into a higher place. A person's davening, the Eibishter wants us to daven, so we make up a ratzon chodesh, so we make up from a higher place. So while tefillah comes milmato, and it's not a certainty, but tefillah can accomplish and tap into a higher place. That higher place is understood now. This is what the bracha, this is what the pasuk says. The pasuk says, Yoduch Hashem kol maasecha. So the place of where Chasidecha Yivarchucha, normally Yivarchucha we say is in the Mokir, but here Chasidecha bring down from the higher level, from the level where Tefillah taps in, where the level of higher, where the new Ratzah comes from. Val Pizeh, let's look inside. We'll continue. Val Pizeh, move on Goydel, Ilui Habracha da Chasidecha. So now we can understand the great advantage of this bracha. It says, Yivarchucha, Chasidecha Yivarchucha. Shehamshachoso hi mehamokim sheboi hi ha'haidah. The place where it comes is where there is yoiducha, the place of haidah, which means the bebracha zu shtei hamailus. That in this bracha you have both milos. Shehamshocha hi me'oiden sof shalamaylo mi'ishtalshlus. That's the place of Haidah where you can only admit it's beyond grasp. It's beyond, the Rebbe brought down before, it's not something that you can appreciate with your seichel. You're only moide to Hashem. That means that's a level of higher than hishtalshelus. But then you're saying, Chasidecha Yevarchucha, that place of Lamaila Mihishtalshelus, they actually, B'derech Tzivu, are commanding it. I'm sure he made it Sof Shalom Maila Mihishtalshelus because that's the union of Haidah. Hainu Shal Yidei Barocha Zu Nase Rotzun Chodesh. This blessing makes a new rotzin, just like by tefillah, it goes to higher than hishtalshlus. Hishtalshlus, the place where there is haidah, which has hamayla de tefillah. That has the advantage of tefillah. Tefillah brings from higher than hishtalshlus. The afal pikein, and still, while it comes from lemayla mishtalshlus, hiloi tefillah. Bakosha, it's not a tefillah, it's not a request. Ela bracha, it's a blessing. Chasidecha yivarchucha, which is b'derech tzivon, a command. So you have a combination of this chasidecha yivarchucha, their mamshich, from the maila mishtalshlus, b'derech tzivoy, the maila of a bracha. So they have the combined benefits of higher than ishtalshlus, and in a way that it comes down. That they instructed to come down. V'hu al derech the Isa b'Yerushalmi. This is similar that we find in Yerushalmi. Al haposik, on the verse, it says Vatigzar Oimer Vayokim Loch. You decree and you said, and Hashem fulfills it for you. So what does the Yerushalmi say? What does the posik says? You decree. This talks about a tzaddik. The tzaddik decrees, and Hashem sustains it for you, because Hashem gives up His own rotzen for the rotzen of the tzaddik. As the Yerushalmi says, Afilu hu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Omer Hochin Vat Omer Hochin. Even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says so, meaning Hashem made a decree, and the tzaddik, and you say so, no, that the person, you give a bracha that he should live. You go against what Hashem said. Hashem said, Hochin, that there is a decree for this person to die, but Va'atomar, the tzaddik says, Hochin, so no, he should live. And the Eibishter says, Didoch Kaimo. Yours, what you decree will stay. What I said, loy kaima, will not stand. But tiksar omer vayokom loch, Hashem fulfills what you said to you. So the zeh she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu mevatel as gzeirosei mipnei gzeiras hatzadik. The fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mevatel his gezeira because of the gezeira of the tzaddik who. Ki hatzadik mamshich rotzen chodesh. The tzaddik brings down a new will. It means he changes the Eibishter's will from the Maila Mishtalshlus to a new will. Ha-Maila de Tefillah, which is the advance of Tefillah. But the Oifan Bitlag Zeirehu, and how do we nullify the Gezeirehu? Is Loi al Yidei Bakosha, not by asking, Elo al Yidei Gezeiras HaTzadik, but through the decree of the Tzadik. Mailas HaBrocha, Shi B'derech Tzivui, this is the advantage of Brocha, which is in a way of Tzivui, command. So you have the place where it comes, you make up a Rotzun Chodesh L'mayla Mishtalshlus, and that comes B'derech Tzivui. This is the bracha, this is the place, Chasidecha Yivarchucha, that follows Yeducha, because Yeducha, just like Tefillah is the Maila Mishtalshlus, Yeducha is the Maila Mishtalshlus. So after we say Yeducha, so then we say Masecha Yeducha B'Kol Masecha, then we say Chasidecha Yivarchucha. From that place they force down from higher than Hishtalshlus the Chasidecha. As the Rebbe will soon explain what is Chasidecha. But first, the Rebbe explains now in Nois Daled that also Torah has these both benefits in which it is nimshach from higher than his shtalshlus, like a rotzen chodesh, and also the way it poils is b'derech tzivui. Daled. Mamshich b'hamaimer, so it continues in the maimer, shehahamshocha shal yidei habrocha dechasidecha. What we draw down through the bracha of chasidecha, chasidecha yivarchucha. This is similar to what we draw down through Torah, what we're mamshich. Dal yidei ha-Torah nas shinui v'chidush ba'olam. Torah makes about a change and a novelty in the world, which means it changes the hishtalshlus. It's just like the sick person becomes healthy through the prayer. The same thing is a Ratzon Chodesh, which means it changes. There's something new. The Torah makes something new in the world. Hainu, and that means Shenase davar chodesh lo hoya gam b'shoresh u'moker ha'olam. Something new happens that wasn't even in the root and the source of the world. There's a new change in the world through the Torah. As the Rebbe will explain soon, like rain, there was no rain, and then they started learning Torah. The Torah brings down rain. That's a change. That brings from higher than the source of the world. And the second aspect of it, so while there's a shinu, a chidush in the world, this change and this novelty, it's not in a way of requesting like we have when we daven, but automatically it comes down. It's like a tzivui by itself. We know the story that the world needed rain, and Rashbi started giving a Torah on the pasuk in Ematav Manoim. Started raining. Rashbi, shehimshich yiridas gishamim. He brought down rain. Torah. He said the Torah. He started saying a pasuk of Ematav, and the rain came down. So he changed something in the world, a new, which wasn't there before, through his Torah. The bichdei shetiye yiridas gishamim la'acharei shenigzar shetiye atziras gishamim. In order that rain should come down after it has been decreed that there should be no rain, the rain should be stopped. Hu al yidei hamshachas rotzon chodesh. That is to bring down rotzon chodesh. So it means, where does the rain come? There's a new rotzon. L'mayla mishtalshlus. Ba'afal pikein. Yet through saying Torah, they didn't have to beg. He started saying Torah. It was automatically. It wasn't like tefillah. It wasn't through sarusu dilatato. It wasn't through work and effort. And the Rebbe brings down now that it's not only an example now. So the Rebbe, this is from the Maimer. But the Rebbe says it also adds, bringing this example from Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, that the way Torah is mamshich is more than just to show that, just like we're saying now, Yivarchucha, they bring down l'mayla mishtalshlus in a way of a tzivui. Same thing is by Torah. But it actually clarifies us to understand really what Chasidecha Yivarchucha does. Let's look inside. The Rebbe says, the Ma'ashe Kosu b'hamaimer, when the Maimer says, Sha'amshocha shal yidei habrocha de Chasidecha, He kimoy ham shochash al yidei Torah. The Maimer compares and says that where mamshich the bracha of chasidecha is similar to the hamshacha that takes place through Torah. So this example, huloi rak bichdei lahavi dugma, it's not just in order to bring an example. Hamshacha sheyesh bo shtei hamaylos. From hamshacha that has the both advantages, the tefillah, the bracha has both. It's like a prayer and a blessing that you're mamshich and you change around things, a new yirot, and in a way of command. Elagam, but also the example, through this example, it adds explanation in the advantage of chasidecha yivarchucha. We'll understand better what is the chasidecha yivarchucha by understanding this example. And the Rebbe is going to say that we see all the Tanoim, they were doing various different changes in the world, miracles, and also especially Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who is even greater. The Rebbe brings down like this: Inyan, what's the idea? What does it explain? What do we see from the Limud HaTorah, which gives us an explanation in Chasidecha Yivarchucha? The Mavuar B'Likutei Torah B'Inyan HaMeifsim HaAtzumim. The Torah explains the great miracles. She'asu kamu Tanoim v'Ameroim. Many of the Tanoim and Amoraim, they made great miracles. So Likutei Torah talks about it, explains this. Example, like Gemara Chulin, K'moyer Pinchas ben Yoir. The Gemara relates to him. She'omar Ginoi Nara Chaloik Li Meimecha. He said, the river Ginoi, I want you to split. He did Kriyas Yamsuf. It was a Taner, a Pinchas ben Yoir. He had to go through, he was going for a mitzvah, for Pidyon Shvuin, and he wanted to cross the river. He said, split. He was a Taner, he was Limud HaTorah, that was his idea. Ki al yidei, the Alter Rebbe explains, al yidei eisek HaTorah shalahem, through their study of Torah, these Tanoim and Amoraim, as such as Reb Shimon Pinchas ben Yoir, himshichu gilu eirin sof shelamaylo mihishtalshelus. They draw down the infinite light, which is higher than hishtalshelus. The hishtalshelus says that the water needs to be there. Higher than hishtalshelus, split the water. He said, so based on this, gam beham shochesh al yidei sekatoira dechol hatanoim b'amaroim. So also by the hamshocha of all the Tanoim Amaroim, through their learning of Torah, ho yushnei in yonim mailusanal. So they have these both advantages. First of all, shal yidei sekatoira shalahem nase shinui v'chidush ba'olam. Through their occupation in Torah, there becomes a change and a novelty in the world. Something changes. It's not bringing down the source, but we are actually bringing a new change into the world. Chidush amiti sheloi hoyogam b'shoirish u'mokir ha'olam. A true change, a true novelty that wasn't even in the source and root of the world. Because in the source and the root of the world, the water is supposed to be there. All the Arim miracles that are taking place, the natural ways, the source has to be in the natural ways. They change that. Say, for example, the splitting, that Reb Pinchas ben Yoir split the river, which is a change and a novelty also with regards to the root and the source of the river, the Hanor of the river, which is Hamayla de Tefillah. The advantage of Tefillah to change things around on the ground from the way it's over here. This is an advantage, this is a change. And also, b'shashinu nase loy al yidei bakosha, ela al yidei hatzibu shel Reb Pinchas ben Yoir, and that this change did not take place through a request, but Reb Pinchas ben Yoir commanded. Hamayla de bracha shebederech tzibui. It's the advantage of bracha that's been a way of a command. He said, Chaloikli me mecha, that split the water. Uh, so he gets from the higher level, he makes a change in the world, and it's not tefillah, it's a bracha, it's a command. V'yesh loymar. And the Rebbe says, and it's even more by Reb Shimon bar Yochai. Shachidush bazeh she Reb Shimon bar Yochai himshich yiridas geshomim al yidei amiras Torah. The novelty that Reb Shimon bar Yochai brought down the rain through saying Torah, legabe hamoifsim, even relative to the miracles, ha'atzumim, this powerful, wondrous miracles, also kama tanoim v'amayroim, al de'esek ha'Torah shalahem, through their occupation in Torah. There is a greater novelty in what Reb Shimon bar Yochai was able to accomplish, even more than the other tanoim. Who? Sha'ashinui ba'olam sha'asu kol ha'tanoim v'amaroim. Because the change in the world that all of the Tanoim Aroim did, who al yidei hatzivui v'hagzeira shalahem, it came through their command. They decreed. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoyer said, "Chaloik, do that." Ukamei Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoyer, shetziva v'gozat, like Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoyer, who instructed and decreed al anor sheyachlik his meimov. He has to do that. That's by all Tanoim. V'achidush di yiridas motor al yidei amiras Torah de Reb Shimon bar Yochai. What is the novelty of the rain coming down by saying Torah Reb Shimon bar Yochai is the hagam shebehadru she'omar loy hayotzivu klal. Even though that in that mimer that he said there was no instruction. Is not hid. He was saying the world needed rain. He was talking about a maimer over there. There's no command for rain, and there is no even a hint for rain over there. It still came down rain. So he poiled. He didn't even have to command. It came on its own. So the Rebbe says, so based on this and the example that the Maimer brings from Reb Shimon Yochai, yesh loymar dezeh shemevi ba'maimer hadugma diiridas gishomim al yidei midas toirahu. So why does the Maimer bring the example of the rain coming down by saying Torah, not just to bring these two ideas that you can bring l'mayla meishtalshlus, and also that it happens not in a way of prayer, but he's saying that it can that's similar to this, like by Rashbi's Torah, like the Torah, the way it came down, is also the bracha de chasidecha v'ruchucha. You don't even need to have the command, but just saying Torah, just being there, that alone makes the change. Kidlakamon Sif Yud Beis, like we'll see later on in Sif Yud Beis. So basically, what the Rebbe is saying over here, that this the bracha of Chasidecha is the maila of both, the maila of Tefillah and the maila of Torah. Tefillah means it makes changes in the world. And he brings the fact that Tanoim Amoraim made changes in the world. It comes to Maila, but it comes with Erech Tzivui. But furthermore, the Rebbe brings down by Reb Shimon bar Yochai, it wasn't even al yidei Tzivui, it just happens. And this is really what Chasidecha Yevarchucha, as the Rebbe will explain in Sif Yud Beis. I say. So, but what does this all have to do with Chasidecha? We're talking about Yevarchucha. You bring down from the level of high shtalshlus. But here we say that it is chasidecha yivarchucha. What is the chasidecha? The connection of blessing koi being mamshich hamshocha b'malchus koi moirin sof shalamaylo mehishtalshlus, to bring down in Malchus, which is koi yivorchu koi, to Malchus from the Ein Sof Shalamayla Mishtalshlus. So what's the connection lachasidecha to the level of chasidecha? Al pi mashakos Rambam, he brings it down based on what the Rambam writes. Hachiluk shebein chesed litzedakah. What's the difference? The Rambam explains when we say doing chesed, kindness, or doing tzedakah. Tzedakah comes from the lashon of tzedek v'yosher. Tzedakah is the right thing. Chesed is above. Tzedakah inyan hayosher. That's fair. Tzedakah is right, proper. Tzedakah meloshin tzedek v'yosher. Tzedakah from the language, it's righteous and correct. It's proper, the right thing to do. Lo says lekol echad kefi harayu lo, to give each one the way he deserves, what it's fit for him. That means to give them tzedakah, what is justice, what is right. But v'chesed hu aflogas hatoiv. Chesed is an abundance of good. Leheitiv yoser mimashu roi, to do good more than it's worthy, more than he's fit. Maybe a Maimer, so the Maimer brings down the Mashakosov Harambam Shadzdoku Hashpo Lucholechot Kfi Oroloi. When the Rambam says that tzedakah is like everybody deserves, Hukameshakosov Gabe Mitzvah Tzedakah. That's what we say by tzedakah. What did we say by tzedakah? By tzedakah, the pasuk says you have to give him Dei Machsoiroi Asher Yachsaloi. Enough, the lacking, what he's lacking, give him so he shouldn't be lacking. As our sages say, what does it mean he shouldn't be lacking? You're not supposed to make him wealthy. You give the poor person what he needs, but you don't have to make him wealthy. Ba'omru Razal, our sages say, what does it mean? Dei machseiroi, give him what he's lacking. V'yata mitzvah la'oshrei, and you're not supposed to make him. You're not commanded to make him wealthy. Just give him what he's lacking. Give him what he needs. But that's tzedakah. Chesed, when we talk about chesed, shu aflogas hatoiv lahitiv yoser mashu roi. To do chesed, to give him more than is fit, hu hashpo beribui lemailo memila chesed. That's to give a lot, more than just filling what he's lacking. That's ashirus. That's wealth. So similarly, by Malchus, we say there is the level of tzedakah and the level of chesed. The inyan tzedakah who, what is tzedakah? Who hamshochas hagilu sheshayich lemalchus. The Rebbe will explain that tzedakah is when you're b'mamshich atik chitzonis hakeser. Chesed means your mamshich arich, which is pnimis hakeser. Why? Explains. The inyan tzedakah who hamshochas hagilu sheshayich lemalchus. That tzedakah means it belongs to malchus. Shal yidei zeh nismal hachisonu shelo. When you give it tzedakah, you fill what it's lacking. Because malchus is lacking. Okay, you do it in inyan, as we know in the matter, it says ato sisos hashamayim goimer. The word ato doesn't have a hey. Ato sisos hashamayim, which malchus. Malchus is missing the hey. Ato vizo. Ato choser hey. Ato is missing. Zesha malchus nasi moker lahabis es oilmas. The fact that malchus becomes the source from malchus to create the worlds, osisas hashamayim v'esaoretz, is ato hu al yidei shenechsuru mimeno hey partzufim. That it's lacking. She was lacking the 5 partzufim, which means malchus is missing 5 partzufim, which is keser, chochma, bina, zo malchus. All these partzufim were taken away from malchus. That's how malchus can go ahead and create biyah. V'zeh nishar, if you took away malchus, so how is it malchus? He says, v'zeh nishar urak chitzonis ha-malchus. That's only the externality of malchus. Malchus the malchus. So basically, malchus lost all of its inner. In order for malchus to go to biyah, it can't have all the forces because Bia is a very narrow creation, is a very mitzumtzum dikah, so it had to be, so it's lacking. It lost the 5 partsufim. So the idea of tzedakah is to give her back the 5 partsufim. But that's to bring down a revelation of light. You bring down a light which is higher than connected to Malchus, and it comes into Malchus. That's already chesed for Malchus. And this is what our sages of blessed memory say. What is it referring to? Chosid is chassid in koinoi. Chesed, koinoi is malchus. Chosid meaning the idea of chesed, to give it on a higher level. Umefarish b'tikuni zoyer. Tikuni zoyer explains what does it mean chesed with the koinoi. Im koinoi means im kan delay, with his nest. What is his nest? Malchus is the nest, and being chesed with the nest means you're bringing down higher than Malchus, the level of higher, or the Rebbe will say soon, Atik, into Kan, into Malchus. Koinoi, who is Koinoi? Who's Zo? Koinoi, in Koinoi is the level of Zo. Why is Zo Koinoi? Atzilus nikra kinyan. Atzilus is referred to as kinyan, as an acquisition. V'zo sheifa atzilus. Zo is the end of atzilus. So koinoi, mischasid im koinoi is with zo. V'kan delay. What is the nest? Humalchus, because that's the kan, that's the nest of zo. Zo is koinoi. Kumeshikosu b'm pardes shamalchus nikra kan. So basically, the inyan amischassid in kandele, what does it mean? You do chesed with malchus, malchus gilu chodosh, that you bring down a new light, which is higher than the light that was left her ashirus. So she lost only the 5, and now we're giving her back not just the 5 that she lost, but we're giving her back a higher, we're giving her ashirus. The way it's understood in Sfiras, you give her atik. Sham shochat the chitzonis hakeser. When you give a chitzonis hakeser arich ubechlal milu achisoren, that's considered filling what it's lacking, because arich chitzonis hakeser has a shaykhus to malchus, to ishtalshulus. So therefore, that's considered to be just filling what is missing. Since arich, the 2 parts in Keser, Arich is the root and the source for the Netzolim, and Atik is the Atzmus, Eloshu Makif Aleim. Arich is the source, but it's surrounds them Soivim. Hu Bechlal Ha'oir HaShaykh Lo'ilmas. That's an oir which is connected to the word Malchus. When that light of Arich is not revealed in Malchus, HaMalchus Yichaseda, then it's lacking. That means that they took away from Malchus because she doesn't get from the Arich. When you draw a dot, it's revealed. So now you fill the Chesoren. That's called what? That's called Tzedakah. But V'atik hu b'china tachtoina shebemeitzel. This is the lower level in the Meitzel. This is higher than Ilmas. Gam is Lamaila, Gam is Sheikh's Bay from the Sefer Makif, even not having a connection of surrounding a Makif. This is a level of Ashirus. That's called the Chesed. These 2 levels of Tzedakah v'Chesed, the Rebbe explained over here, is to be Mamshich. The Chlal, Tzedakah means just to fill what they need, like by Tzedakah, they machseirei. Then you have the level of Chesed to give with a lot more, a level of Ashirus. And in Malchus, the idea that is to give it what it's lacking, that in order to create the world, you had to take away the 5 levels, and it only remained with Chitzon is the Malchus. When we give it back that's called Tzedakah, because that comes from the level of Arich, because Arich is Makif, but it's Makif of the Oilumis. When it doesn't have Arich, it's lacking, but when we bring it back, that's Tzedakah. But then you have also the level of Chesed, which you're mamshich from the level of atik, and that's the level of ashirus, and that's the level of chesed. Okay, we'll leave it over here. We'll be mamshich.